Wow, okay. So us as Brad's kids just wanted to share some memories of our dad. So I'm going to start off strong with one that my mom has no idea about. Um, so when we first bought the Razor, that came into like our favorite thing to do. We were always on the Razor, and I'm sorry for our neighbors who had to listen to our blaring music that never stopped. So there was one particular time where we all decided we would take a drive up to Willow Flats. If you've ever been up there, it gets to a point where there's a T, and you either can go up this one trail that goes up the side of the mountain, or you can go down this like gravel side. Obviously, we didn't know. We'd been there 0 times before. So my dad decided to pick the right turn, which ends up being the super rocky turn. So we're going up this trail, and it starts to get rocky even more, and it becomes bigger and bigger rocks. So we're barely making it over rocks, like we're slowly making it, and we get to the point where on this trail where it's either you turn slightly to the left and you're hitting the mountain, or you turn slightly to the right and you're off the mountain. And it just gets thinner and thinner, and the rocks get bigger. And there was one point where we got stuck on a rock, and we were sitting like this. So my dad is yelling. My dad doesn't ever get scared, ever. And my dad was like freaking out, and we almost pooped ourselves. We were so scared. And so we're sitting there, and he's yelling, "Get out, get out!" So we all climb out of the Razor. He's like, "Do you think we can make it?" We're like, "No, Dad, there's no way we're making it over this rock. Either we go down the mountain, or we're just sit here or walk down. Like, there's no way of getting out. And there's no self-service, no way of calling anyone." And so then we jump out of the Razor. We're all freaking out. Rex like, "Hurry, say a prayer, say a prayer." So we say a prayer, we jump out. My dad is like, you can just see him, his whole body shaking. So me and Greg were walking backwards down the mountain over these big rocks. And my dad, he's putting it in reverse, and we're guiding him backwards down the whole mountain. We were probably, almost halfway up? Like, we were stuck up there. So we get to the bottom of the mountain, we're all just taking a breather. We're like, "Oh, thank goodness we made it down." Like, "Don't tell Mom, don't tell Mom." So then we're all like, "Okay, we're never doing that again. We're gonna pick a trail that someone has actually been on." We realized that no one was actually on that trail before us. So every time after that, I'd always say, "Dad, make sure you take a trail that people are on, because if not, it turns bad." Then there's a couple times after that, I'd be like, "Dad, take a trail that there's people on so we know we're not gonna get stuck." So that's one of my favorite memories of my dad.
So when we're driving, when we pass people, like if they're walking on the side of the road, he would always like honk at them, and then he would hurry and tell us to hurry and wave the other way. And if you guys haven't seen my dad, he likes to swerve at people. And sometimes it's not even the person he's thinking of. It's a random person. And a lot of the time, he would honk at them and tell everyone in the... Oh, I already said that. My bad. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, one time, this was a few years ago, but I was playing soccer, and we were playing this team. They were like 2 years older than us, and I was playing goalie. I don't know why, but I was playing goalie, and then our team was like brand new, so we hadn't played with each other very much. And so then we ended up losing like 15-0. It was not very good. And then on the way home, like after the game, I was so mad because they had scored all the goals on me. And then we got in the car, and then we were like at our cell, and we like went to the Green Canyon roundabout. And then he was like just driving normally, and then when he got to the roundabout, he like kept going around the roundabout, and he was like, and I was like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Your head is down, and that was a good game. Like, you played as hard as you can." He's like, "I'm going to keep going around this roundabout until you pick your head up." And so we went around the roundabout a lot, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." Yeah.
Okay, so last year I went to our school's like true Bobcat thing, right? And that night I like got home and I like every time we like get home late, like we always like my parents are always like dead asleep. And so I always like have to go in, like wake up my dad, tell him that I'm home, or else he'll like wake up in the middle of the night like freaking out. And so I like went into his room, went to go wake him up, and he like turned, like I like scared him, right? So he like turned, grabbed my hand, and he just like stared at me. And then he was like, "Did you kiss anyone?" And I was like, "No, Dad." And then, excuse my French, my dad said, he goes, "You chicken shit, why not?" And I was just laughing at him. And he was like, "It only takes like 5 seconds, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, Dad, I know." And so I was just laughing and I just like went to bed that night. And then next morning I wake up, go upstairs, and he like comes up to me, "Did you kiss anyone?" I'm like, "No, Dad." I was like, "We already had this talk and you already called me chicken shit." And he's like, "Did I really?" And I was like, "Yeah, Dad." He goes, "I had no idea." He's like, "I was sleeping that whole time." So then I had to retell him the whole entire story and he was laughing so hard. It was the funniest thing ever. And then actually like a couple weeks ago, I was just like laying in my bed and he just like came into my room. And he just like laid next to me and he didn't say anything for a while. And then finally he started talking. He's like, "Brecklin," he's like, "you need to go live your life some more." He's like, "You need to get out of the house like every Friday and Saturday night. I don't want to see you home. Like, love ya, but I don't want to see you home." He's like, "I need you guys to go hang out with your friends and go do some fun things. Like, go like be stupid. Go get in trouble. Like, go climb some trees. Do stupid things." And he like turns to me and he goes, "And you like kiss like 3 boys." I was like, "Okay, Dad." I was just laughing and he's like, "At the end of this week, you better have kissed 3 or more boys and I'm gonna come check on you." I'm like, "Okay, Dad, sounds good."
Okay, so most of you probably know, but when we went to Hawaii for my senior trip, I ended up getting injured. And so I couldn't do anything for the rest of the trip. And so me and my dad were buddies. We just sit on the lawn chairs on the grass and we just hang out. There was one time where he went to the store and he got some candy and then some fruit. And he's like, "Here, Hallie, I got this like weird fruit thing." He's like, "Let's try it." I was like, "Okay." So I take a bite and I'm like, "That's disgusting." And so come to find out, my dad actually was sick and he like couldn't really taste anything, so he thought he had COVID, right? So then I'm like, "Here, Dad, try this." And I was like, "Dad, it's awful. Like, you don't want to try this." I don't even know what it was called. Like, it was nasty. And I was like, "Dad, try this." And so he's like, "Okay." He like takes a bite. He's like, "Well, I can't taste anything anyway." So he ate like the whole tub of fruit. So, at least we got our money's worth of fruit, but it was so funny.
Most of you guys know that I like to go snow plowing with my dad. And when the first snow would fall, my dad would wake me up at 5 a.m. or even earlier, and we would go snow plowing every time it would snow. And we would go out until like 8:30, and then I would come home, be so tired, freezing, and then I would have to head right to school.
Okay, so every Friday night, my dad would always plan to go to the Skyview football games, and then he would always make sure that everyone in the house had plans, and if not, he would like make them plans. He'd be like, "Okay, you're gonna go out, like, don't be at home, that's so lame." And then, he would always like make sure that I had plans, and if I didn't, he'd be like, "Okay, get on the golf cart," and he would drive us up on the golf cart up to the field, and we would go sit on the top of the hill, and he would always like just make it so much fun. And he would get so into the game, and it was so funny because sometimes he would get so mad and I just sit there and laugh at him. I was like, "Dad, it's just a game." And it was, yeah, and like whenever my friends like weren't hanging out, I would always go with my dad on Friday nights.
One of my favorite things about my dad that I'm gonna miss so much is every time we'd go to any restaurant anywhere, he knew every one of our orders, like on the dot, like what toppings we wanted on it, what we didn't like, everything, like every single restaurant we went to, and like he had everyone's memorized. And so like he'd like go around the table and they'd like point us like, "What do you guys want?" And like he would know right off the spot, and like he literally would order all of our foods all the time, and it was awesome. And one of my favorite things that he was told me one time was that he would go out to lunch with my grandma all the time, and she always wanted to try new food, but he knew exactly what she wanted, but she would always want to try a new food or like a new plate of some sort. And so he okay, you're not gonna like it. And she's like, well, I want to try, it'll be good. And so he was like, okay. So he ordered it for her and everything. And every time he would get what she always liked. He would order for himself her plate, because then she would get her plate and then she's like, this is disgusting, Brad. Why'd you get this for me? And so then he'd just hand her his plate and he would always eat hers. So that's one thing I'll miss about him.
As you guys know, my dad's a jokester. So there was one time where Brett got this baby doll, when she was little. This was forever ago. And it became a joke where we'd hide it in the Reed's house, and then the Reeds would hide it in our house or their cars or anywhere. And it would make sometimes it'd make the weirdest, creepiest sounds. And it'd just be so creepy because you'd have no idea it was there until you heard it, and then you're trying to find it. Or it'd be sitting in your bed and you pull your sheets down and it's just laying in your bed. And there was a couple times where my dad would put people's houses up for sale when they actually weren't for sale, but he would put them up for sale. So then they'd get home and they'd be like, what the heck? But there was one time where it snowed so much, so much. And we went over to the Hutchison's house when they were out of town. And they probably remember this. But my dad decided to get their garbage cans, and us as kids piled the snow as tall as we could with the snowplow and our shovels to cover the whole garage so they couldn't get in their garage, not knowing they weren't actually home or when they would be home. And then come to find out it was supposed to rain. So we're crap, it's gonna be icy, So then my dad sneaks in their garage back door, anyways. So he sneaks to the back door, opens the garage, and we move enough snow to get the four-wheeler in, so he's just plowing all the snow out. Then he goes to get Bryce Buchanan, and Bryce comes over with this tractor with this snowplow. And then my dad takes a picture of him and sends it to the Hutchisons and blames it on him. And so that's one of our favorite memories, because my dad was always doing some sort of joke. He's never serious. So it was just so funny.
One thing I really love about my dad is that he took me everywhere he would with him. Oh my gosh. Whether was golfing, football games, doing service, young men's, or just run errands. I was always his little buddy.
Okay, one time, this was a few years ago, because after this I will not go skiing. But one time he took me skiing, and I was not very good, because I just started, and then I fell, and then I landed on my face, and I was stuck in the splits, so I couldn't get up, and I was crying, and I was like, Dad, help me up. So then, after a minute of him laughing at me for falling, he finally helped me up, and then I was like, Dad, I'm done, I'm not skiing anymore. And he took me, and I was like, Dad, I'm gonna go sit in the lodge, I'm done. And then he kind of grabbed my hand, and he was like, no, you're not done, keep going, I promise you'll be good at it, it's so fun. And I was like, no, Dad, I'm done. I was crying, and he was like, no, Roxy, wards don't quit, keep going, wards don't quit. And I just love that so much.
This isn't just one particular story, but as most of you guys know, my dad is he loves coaching and he loves being involved in sports. So my dad's basically been my coach ever since I probably could walk. So for so many freaking years, and he's coached so many different teams for all of us, and he's coached 3 different teams in one season just for me. And and if he wasn't the coach, he was always the assistant coach. He was always there, and it was so cool. And I remember he loved going to each and every one of our games. And I remember the first game, one of my first soccer games that he ever had to miss. It literally broke him. He was crying, and it was the saddest thing ever. But I remember he was like, you better call me the second that game gets over. And he texted 5 different parents. He's keep me updated, keep me updated. And he's texting them every 5 minutes, what's the score, what's going on. He loved being there and supporting all of us. Where am I? After every single game, he would always come up to us, like, on, like, the drive home, he'd be like, "Hey, do you want Coach or do you want Dad to talk to you first?" And, like, he always had, like, a different side for both of them because he was always there cheering for both of us. During our soccer season, he always started all of our practices off with the weirdest, like, games. Like, they were always, like, team bonding games, but they were, like, the weirdest games, like freeze tag, where you had to, like, climb under people's legs to, like, unfreeze them, or, like, tic-tac-toe, and capture the flag. There was, like, line tag. He would, like, make up all, like, these random relay races, and I'm pretty sure he got all of these ideas off of his Instagram Reels because he would send me Instagram Reels on the daily. And he loved, like, seeing all of the girls, like, get along and laughing. One of his biggest things that he would tell all of his teams is no matter what the score was, to him the score was always 0-0. There was always a way to keep pushing and keep trying. Like, we could be losing 5-0, and he's like, "It's 0-0, let's go, like, pick it up, we got it." And I remember every single game that I was never playing good, he'd always just give me this look, and he'd just stare at me, and I just knew that I needed to pick it up or else he'd bench me the whole game. And like, he never had to say anything to me. He just, like, looked at me, and I just gave him a nod, and so I'd pick it up. This past week, Brother Dixon was at our house, and he was, like, talking about basketball tryouts because we had basketball tryouts this week, and he was like, "Well, good luck on, like, making the team, like, hope it goes well." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And my dad, like, turns to me and goes, "You know I'll cut you, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know, Dad." And he's like, "You know I'm not kidding." He's like, you better try hard or else I will cut you." And I knew he actually would cut me, though, but I was like, "Okay, sorry, Dad." And one thing that I'm gonna miss so much is before every game, he started this new thing, and excuse my French again, but he would come up to me before every game, and he'd give me a big hug, and he'd be like, "Give her hell, Brecklin, give her hell." And he'd give me the hug and say, "I love you, give her hell, like, you got it." And it's like, that became, like, our little thing, and I literally, like, wouldn't start any game without him telling me to give her hell. Like, there were sometimes, like, he wouldn't come up to me and, like, tell me, and I'd just sit there and just stare at him in the stands. I'm like, "Brad, hello." And it's like, he'd, like, look at me and he'd, like, "Give her hell." And I was like, "Thanks, Dad." And, like, I just knew after that, like, I had all the confidence in the world because I had all the support from my dad.
One particular Saturday, as you guys probably know, there's so many sports. So there's always games, they're always playing taxi everywhere. But there's one time where Houston and my dad were at a soccer game, and then the rest of us were all together, and my dad and my mom were going to the temple after. I don't remember for what reason, but they were going to the temple. I think there was, like, someone going through or something. I don't remember. Anyways, and so my dad puts his church clothes in our car with the girls, and then they met us in the KFC parking lot. And we get to the KFC parking lot, and my dad's, like, putting his church clothes on and pulls out his pants, but they're shorts, and they're cargo shorts. And so just picture my dad wearing his white shirt and a tie, cargo shorts, with his long socks and Hey Dudes. It was the best thing ever. And he also had his dad's sunglasses on, too. He got so many pictures that day. It was so funny. He's like, "I can go to the temple wearing whatever I want." So he's like, "They'll always welcome me in." I just love my dad. Definitely my best friend. I don't know what I'm gonna do without him. He's always there to cheer you up. Bad day or not, he was always there, and he always would make sure he would tell you he loved you. My dad never hated anyone. My dad loved everyone. And so he always made it known. And even if you were just around him, you were his best friend. That's one thing I'm going to cherish about my dad, and I'm going to try to be, because that's something that I love so much. And I know my dad loved all of you. And I want to close this in saying this in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
One of my favorite things is every day my dad would drive me to school, and he would like pick up some of my friends too, and we'd carpool every day. And every day, like even if I wasn't in a good mood, he would find a way to cheer me up, just like driving on the way to school. And he would always turn on the radio, and they would always do this secret sound, or like try and guess whatever was playing. And he loved that so much. Like he would always like ask my friends, he was like, hey, so what's that? Like, your turn, you have to do it. And then he would like call them, and he would get, one time, like he called and they like answered, and like he guessed like way off, and it was so funny because he was like mad when he was like, oh dang it. And then when we found out what it was, he started laughing. He was like, I wasn't even close. What was I thinking? It was so funny. And yeah, and whenever we would like, if we would like get there early, he would like always text me, and he was like, the secret sound was like a dog scratching its collar or something. And he would always like tell me, he was like, go tell your friends. And I was like, okay, Dad. And then like he would always like make sure they found out, because like I would like actually never like go and tell them. And then he would always tell them in the morning. He was like, did you tell them? And I said, no, Dad. And he was like, guys, it was this. And I was like, it was so funny. Yeah, I love my dad so much. I'm gonna miss him so much.
I know, I just keep talking. Sorry, guys. Last week is a week that I will never forget. And I got home from school the other day. And if you know my dad, like, his office was at home, right? And it's like, you'd walk in the door, and his office is like right here in this little corner. And he had his little table set up, and like his chair and his desk all set up. And every time I'd get home, he would always like spin his chair and like look at me and just give me like the biggest smile, and always just ask like how my day was, or something about my day, or something about my friends or sports, like always just like wanting to know more about me. And every time I'd like walk out of the house, he was always there, and he'd like spin his little chair, and he'd like, bye Breck, like love ya. And he always called me Brecca. He's like, bye Brecca, love ya. But last week I like get home, and like I like look over, because usually I like look for my dad. And last week I like get home, and he was just standing there like with his arms wide open, just standing in our living room, just like waiting for me. And so I just like went over, put all my stuff down, and just went and gave him like the biggest hug. And he just was like, I love you, Brett. And like just gave me like the biggest hug, and like literally wouldn't even let go for like a good 10 minutes. It was funny. But I was like, are you okay, Dad? And he's like, yeah, I just love you. It's like, I love you too. And that is one thing that I will miss coming home every day, is seeing my dad and having him be there for me. And he was always my biggest cheerleader, my biggest supporter. And seriously, we did everything together. And I love him so much. Okay.
Every time my dad would hang up the phone, he would always say big gulps. So we're gonna give one more last big gulps for my dad. Ready, 1, 3.
Big gulps.
Big gulps.
That's so bad. And then we have one more thing. Guys, there's so many people here, and thank you all so much. Can we take a 0.5, guys? My dad loved taking 0.5s. I'm bawling my eyes out. God, I'm gonna take a picture of you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.